Hello and welcome to the second series of web development tutorials from easydevtuts. And in this series, we're going to be developing within the WordPress framework. WordPress is a very popular CMS. It has a very large community of developers and it's pretty easy to use. It's also easy to develop with, and I'm going to show you how. So you should definitely subscribe, and because I got a lot of cool stuff coming up. Before we even get started though, there's a development environment we need to set up. Now the first thing you're going to need is some type of local web server or a personal server. When I'm on my Mac, I like to use Map, and it's free, and you can download it here. When I'm on Windows, I use WAMP server, and I also like to use XAMPP. It's a pretty cool one. I haven't tried it for Mac yet, but I'll probably be looking into it soon. But anyway, I'm not going to go over how to download these and set them up. They're pretty easy, and each of the websites has instructions. So if you follow those, you should be good to go. The second thing we need to do, once we have that server set up, is download WordPress. So right here on the homepage at wordpress.org, I'm going to click on this blue download button, and then I'm going to click over here on download WordPress, and I'm going to be using version 3.5.1. Go ahead and save that in my downloads. Next thing we're going to need is the Bootstrap front-end framework, and I'm going to use this because by default it looks pretty good, and I'm not going to spend too much time on CSS because I'm going to try and focus mainly on the WordPress framework and PHP. So let's go ahead and download this. We're going to get it from the Customize page, and we're going to make sure that we have all of these toggled. Same thing for jQuery, and you can fill this stuff out if you want to. I'm not going to do that right now. Scroll all the way down to the bottom and click on Customize the download. We'll save that into Downloads directory. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my Finder, and I have my Downloads window open on this side, and I have another window open over here. First things first, let's go ahead and unzip these. So I'm just going to double click these, and I'll do the same for WordPress. Okay, so those are ready. Now, I said this before, if you have your local server set up, you're going to need to navigate over to your root directory. Now, if you're using XAMPP, it's probably your htdocs, or if you're on Map, it's your www folder. On my Map, I have my root directory set up as sites, and it's over here in the side, and I've got all my testing sites over here. Let's create a new folder. And you'll need to do this in the root directory. And I'm going to call it easydevtuts. Just close it like that. Then I'll open it up. Oh, there we go. And I'm going to drag over some of these files. Now, instead of just taking the whole folder, I'm going to click into it. And I'm going to select everything over here. And I'll just copy it. And I'm going to paste it right over here. Okay, now that that's complete, I need to copy my Bootstrap files, so I'm going to go back over to them. I'm going to double click on that, and you see I have 3 directories, and you should too. And you'll have your CSS with your minified version and your full version, your image for your icons, and your JavaScript. Now we're not going to copy and paste and just drag it directly over here. We need to click inside to the theme sources. So I'm going to double click WordPress content, and I'm going to double click themes, and I'm going to create a new directory or a new folder, and I'll just call it easydevtuts as well. You can call it whatever you want, but it's easy for me. And then I'll double click it, and I'm just going to copy these 3 folders, and I'm going to paste them over here. Now, since I'm not going to go over all of the CSS for Bootstrap, I'm going to go ahead and remove this full version. I also don't need the full JavaScript. I'll just keep the minified. Now we have that set up. Now, don't worry about adding any other files. We're not going to get into theme development yet. I just want to make sure that you have Bootstrap ready to go once we do. I need to go back to my browser, and I'm going to navigate to my PHP My Admin. Now mine is under localhost, and I have PHP My Admin. And I need to create a database for WordPress because it's a database-driven CMS, much like most of them. I'm going to click on databases, and I'm going to create one, and I'm going to call it easydevtuts, just to keep it consistent. If you choose a name as something else, just make sure you remember this because you're going to need it when we set up. Also, after you click create, just click into it. There we go. Make sure that you have the privileges you need to write to this database. So we have our database set up, and I'm going to close. Those other windows because we don't need them anymore. And I'm going to open up another one, and I'm going to navigate to the root directory of my web server. Again, mine's localhost, and I'm going to type easydevtuts, and that's the name of our WordPress directory that stores our main WordPress files and the Bootstrap within our theme directory. I'm going to hit enter, and you should see this because we don't have a WordPress config. That's okay, it's not an error. We're actually going to create the configuration file now. So go ahead and click that. And let's see, we got our database set up. I said remember you have the proper privileges to create tables and so on. And a database host, table prefix. Don't worry about that right now. Go ahead and click let's go. And we named, or actually I named mine easydevtuts. You may have named it something else. And for username, this is going to be the username that you use to access your database. I'm just going to keep mine at root because that's what I use for testing and tutorials, and the password is also root. Database localhost, table prefix, we can go ahead and leave that WordPress, and we're going to hit submit. Okay, if you see this message, that means it's successful and you connected to the database. So go ahead and click run the install, and let's see, we need to fill out some information. I'm going to call this easydevtuts, and you need to set up an admin username and password. I'm just going to call mine admin, and for password I'll put admin. This is only for educational stuff. It's not going to go live. You can also put your email address in here. I'm not going to put my real one, but you can put whatever. It doesn't matter. You can always change that later. And like I said, it's not going live anyway. So this, again, I mean, you can leave this checked or unchecked if you want to. But anyway, click install WordPress. And you should get this success message. If you didn't, it was probably a database problem or something like that. Go ahead and click login, and we can see it works, but I'm going to go ahead and log in just to show you the dashboard. Now here we see we have it all set up. Close that out real quick. And it's got some default data, and this is what we're going to be developing with. Go to visit site. By default it has this plain old 2012 theme. Now it looks very plain on the front end, but on the back end it's got a lot of weight behind it, and it's very useful, especially for learning. I think that's going to be it. We're successful in setting up WordPress. In the next series, or actually, excuse me, the next video, we're going to actually start theme development, and what we're going to do is we're going to use the Bootstrap framework to build our own custom theme. Thanks for watching, and go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already.